The city decided that in the aftermath of the Commonwealth Games and the success of those games, that they should create a new platform in the city, and a cultural one in this instance. And so it was their idea to have an international festival, and my suggestion to them was that they should have a unique festival, one that has never been staged before. A festival about innovation, about world premieres, inviting the world's greatest artists to create new work to premiere here seemed like a noble task.
As much as this festival is Manchester making a statement out to the world, it's also very much the world coming to Manchester. It's part of a kind of the evolution of the city in this century.
Well, the press conference was a blur in some ways. I mean, it was there were so many people who came from both the city, from cultural organisations, to press from all over the world, and particularly London. I'd invited a lot of artists to the press launch. I thought, you know, we're an artist-led festival, and so it should be the artists presenting the work.
Salford Quays, it's 5,000 capacity. It's outside the Lowry Centre. It'll be a free event from, I think it'll start about around lunchtime and go throughout the day, probably with about 6 different bands. I think it'll be a hot ticket once it's announced.
They can expect to be totally overawed by the largest indoor screen in the world.
We'll be launching a new orchestra, the Beating Wing Orchestra.
I'm terrified, but I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm so pleased to be involved in this now.
We believe in culture for all, and are never shy about showcasing the city's talent on an international stage, which is why we're delighted to announce the Manchester International Festival 2007.
I think the quality of the work and the innovation and the excitement of all these new commissions, I think the whole world is going to be watching this.
I used to be editor of Time Out magazine, which is the London publication, and I think this festival is beating anything that London has got to offer.
There is such an array of things going on, not just the festival, but also other galleries and cultural centres.
This is just the start. It's one thing announcing it, and now we've got to deliver it, but it's a great start. It's a really great start.
We wanted to have a building or a structure which symbolised the event, and it had to be something special. So we've designed this tensile structure. The material is held down all the way around its bottom, and then a crane comes along and lifts up the middle to its full height, and then you put the pole in, and that's it. So it's the very last moment that it becomes a structure.
I'd just like to welcome you all to the Manchester International Festival volunteer launch event.
This festival will only be a success if people like you make it a success, and I know you will.
It's the first time it's been staged. I want to be part of the action.
I thought, you know, take the plunge and get in touch and see if they were after any volunteer photographers.
Really, really nice to see such a diverse range of volunteers. It just really reflects all the communities in Manchester.
On behalf of United Facilities and sponsors, I can only thank you, because it is the volunteers that will make this work.
One of our partners in the festival was Virgin, and they came to me with an idea one day, which was, what about livering the whole train? I discussed it with Jamie Hewlett and Damon, and they said, well, couldn't we make it a monkey train? And if there were 9 carriages, there's 9 scenes in the show, and we could each carriage could depict a scene. So I suggested that back to Virgin, and they loved the idea, and they went for it.
Now that the tickets have gone on sale for events, this whole thing is really beginning to get a real head of steam.
All artists love the opportunity to realise new projects.
No one has tried to do this before, not at this scale. I mean, there are festivals that are involved in commissioning work, but to set out to do a festival which is entirely about world premieres, that is a really big and exciting challenge for the festival and for the city.
It was really important to me that there was a show that would define a lot of the ambitions of the festival. I wanted something of the highest artistic quality that really was groundbreaking and that was popular. And I think Monkey achieved that.
It's a fantastic spectacle. I mean, we have about 40+ actors, martial artists, circus actors from China, with music composed by Damon. And Jamie is designing the animation. And so it's quite an integrated art form, from animation to visual arts to martial arts to the flying circus.
I thought Monkey was absolutely sensational.
The underwater scene was just, it was like SpongeBob SquarePants meets, Chinese opera.
Funny and moving, had pathos and humour, and it was beautiful and it was colourful.
I actually thought that the choreography was out of this world.
It was like nothing I've ever seen before. Monkey was amazing.
I mean, I thought the guy who played Monkey was, world class. It was a world class piece of music.
It's about bringing top quality culture to Manchester and giving that to the people of Manchester and to all the visitors in Manchester. Ground Beneath Our Feet was a wonderfully strange and brilliant show. It had, Mike Figgis, it had Alan Rickman, it had Victoria Borisova Olas, this emerging young composer, Mark Elder, one of the great conductors, and the Halley Orchestra, one of the great orchestras. I think it was the biggest classical music commission of the year in the UK.
For the Manchester International Music Festival, I'm directing something that's midway between an opera and a rock musical, and it's based on a novel by Sir Salman Rushdie, his novel, The Ground Beneath Her Feet. I've never seen anything like this in my experience. I've never, as an audience member, I've never seen anything that integrated, let's say, rock music with really kind of avant-garde classical music and film and performance in a certain way.
I'm Heston Blumenthal, and we are serving chilled summer treats. And the idea was to introduce some flavours that people might find unusual. So we've got 3 chilled summer treats. The first one is a pea sorbet with an mint granita, pea syrup, crispy bacon.
It does like mushy peas.
It does taste like mushy peas. It's cold mushy peas, but
yeah,
it's
and
absolutely lovely.
It is, it's just like my favourite one.
And the second one is based on an 18th century dish called chocolate wine. We've turned that into what we call a slushicle.
That's really nice, actually. You can taste the wine and the chocolate. Yeah, it's spot on.
And then the third one is vanilla and strawberry sundae with an olive and leather puree. And just to top it off, some popping candy.
The olive and I guess it's the leather is like unlike anything I've ever tasted before, especially on an ice cream.
And for once, food's actually, people are considering food as entertainment. That's what it should be about.
We're doing 4 serves a day of 250 people, free of charge, 2,000 people in total, eating 10 courses from 10 different restaurants. We've got representatives of lots of different areas of the diverse community in Manchester: Turkish, Persian, Japanese, Indian, English. This event is superb. We're getting some very happy people going away with full stomachs and having had a nice drink. I think the whole environment in the city at the moment is fantastic.
The festival's international music series, I wanted to make that as diverse as possible so that there were new works from the classical world, from the pop world, the rock world, from world music, so that really the widest range of top quality and top artists from the music world were presented. Kanye West, arguably the world's biggest name in rap music, and we had his only full-length show.
Because he's never played in the North East, so we've travelled from Newcastle to Manchester to see him.
Multi-platinum artist, MTV award winner. It was a Diana concert at Wembley, and now he's playing a place like this, That's all you need to know. He's going to rock this gaff. He's going to absolutely rock it.
Throw your diamonds in the sky!
The Blue Nile hadn't played as the Blue Nile for 7 years. I realised there was an opportunity for them to reform and do their first gig in ages, so I nabbed that one. And you know, being a fellow Scot, it meant a lot to me.
Tonight he's going to be doing his Berlin album, which was made in the early 70s. Great music, it's great lyrics, and you know, it'll be good to see him perform it tonight, because a lot of the stuff he's not performed probably since that time.
For us to do a serious classical music concert, but that's for kids, with you know, an animated film and a piece written by Colin Matthews specifically for kids with a children's choir, was important for us to feature in the festival.
I'm outside the Bridgewater Hall in Manchester, and I just can't say enough about Smokey Robinson and about the city of Manchester actually bringing the king here. He's absolutely superb. Everybody needs to come and see this man.
Such a good venue, and the acoustics are good, so if you're going to see somebody like him anywhere, probably the Bridgewater Hall is one of the best places to see him, really.
Yeah, I've presented PJ a few times. When I heard that there was a possibility that she would do her only solo show in the UK, I really put in a big bid for that, and we got it, so I was very pleased. I think some of the highlights were William Orbit. I was really proud of him to take on the symphony orchestra and write a whole evening of music. I thought he did a very good job on that.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. Don't know anything about it, don't know what to expect, but it's exciting. Good for Manchester.
It's trying to explore the wonderful noise these guys make. I mean, right now you can hear them tuning up, and I even like the sound of that.
Yeah, well, Bert Jansch, you know, a living legend, and for him to come with Beth Orton and Bernard Butler was a special event for us.
Last time I saw him was about 30 years ago, and I'm glad to see him still up and about and doing the business.
It's just nice to come to an acoustic gig, actually, yeah.
We've never been in Manchester, so it's our first time here, so that can be also special. You know, it's always a surprise to see some crazy people like us.
The Happy Mondays, I know their manager, and he said that they were bringing out a new album, and I thought, well, let's unveil some of the new songs in Manchester, in their hometown.
I've travelled all the way down from Glasgow on the bus, man, like to come here by myself. Happy Mondays, can't wait to watch them.
For me, this will be special because it's going to be an intimate gig.
Particularly now the Hacienda's not here anymore, the Ritz is sort of still part of Manchester's musical heritage because a lot of the bands started there.
Right up for it.
We love Johnny Vegas.
I'm so out of my depth.
He is, I mean, I think one of the most talented people from this region.
I'm just, as I say, really pleased to be involved with it. It's just something a little bit innovative and taking theatre away from theatre. And I know I've always enjoyed performance-wise is something that's more on a one-to-one with my audience rather than being set back. The idea is that the audience come round the house as if they're potential house buyers. So I'm the Jeffrey Perkins selling the house and taking them around the house, and it sort of his mental state deteriorates as he...
Basically, you're trapped in a room with Johnny Vegas for an hour.
Apparently we've been shown around the house with the intention of buying it.
You get on this bus and you go to this mysterious house and it's full of surprises.
Wish us luck.
Because it's not stand-up, we'll get very arty people coming and that'll disturb them even more.
It's quietly relevant to Manchester at the moment, which is a city that is itself, you know, undergoing a design upheaval. And everyone here must be thinking about how do buildings look and what do they mean. And on a small version, that's this man, Jeffrey Parkin, going around this house and deciding what wallpaper to put up. It's the same kind of decision you have to make when you look at the Hilton and think, do I like that?